Hello viewers, this is Akhil Kanaskar, and today in this video I am going to talk about how you can use the Docker technology to provision your Jenkins agents. So as you can see in the picture on the left hand side, this is how a traditional CI server looks like. So on one virtual machine you have your Jenkins server, which you usually don't run your jobs. So your jobs run on a Jenkins slave agent. So if you have depending on your in the company you're working and the number of jobs you're running on daily basis, you need to have that much number of Jenkins agent to support. So suppose I say I have five Jenkins agent, one Jenkins server. So for every Jenkins agent I will need one virtual machine. So in all I'm using 6 virtual machine. So now looking at the right hand side, this is how a CI server with Docker and Jenkins agents look like. So you on one virtual machine you need to have your Jenkins server, and in this case you can run more than one agents, like 4 or 5 depending on your hardware configuration of the single virtual machine. You can run all these 4-5 agents on single virtual machine. So the advantage of that is like every time, as you know, for in the traditional CI server, every time a new for every Jenkins slave agent, it has to run the complete operating system. So also your hardware resources, most of the hardware resources are used by the for running your operating system as well. But in case of CI server with a Docker Jenkins agent, you have just one host on which one operating system will be running, and you can run 4 or 5 Jenkins agent on the same server. We will discuss other advantages why CI server with a Docker Jenkins agent is more useful. But right now let's quickly go to the demo. Okay, so Jenkins provide a plugin which is called as Docker plugin. So before running doing the configuration, you need to have this Docker plugin installed in your Jenkins server. So now let's go to the console. So as in the picture I've shown you that how does a CI server you can configure. For the demonstration purpose, on a single machine I'm running the Jenkins server, and on the same machine I'm running the Jenkins slave agents, which are running using Docker. So before running your Jenkins agent, you need to have uh, something called as Docker image, which will be used to provision your Jenkins slave agents. So So for the demonstration purpose, I have 2 jobs. One is just a shell script echoing something, and the other is a Maven project which will just create a test app project. So if if I have a CI server with traditional slave agents, I need to have JDK Maven installed on those servers. Then only I will be able to run the Maven job on it. So so as you can see in the image, in the Docker file, the instruction says that from I'm using the base image as Evaggra Jenkins slave, which is available on the Docker hub. So you can use the same image as your base image, and then upon on that base image you can do your customization. Since for demonstration I just need JDK and Maven, so I have mentioned what I'm I'm mentioning for JDK and Apache to add to that image, so that whenever the Jenkins slave agent will run, it will use that JDK and Apache Maven. So now let's build this image. Before building the image, let's see if I have any image already. So right now I don't have any Jenkins agent slave image. So let's so it has now started to build the image. So this is going to take a couple of seconds. Okay, so now our image is ready. I can check that by running docker images command. Okay, so as you can see, it has created the image Jenkins agent with tag 1.0.0. Now the next part is to configure this image in your Jenkins configure system. So once you install this Docker plugin, you will see a cloud section at the bottom of configure system page. So just go on to that and click the Docker. Now I want to name this as Jenkins agent 1. So this is my first agent which I which will which will be running. So the Docker URL is will be used to connect to the Docker daemon, and that will provision your Jenkins slave agent. So if I test my connection. Now for the image, what image you need to use for running the Jenkins slave agent, you need to add it under Docker add Docker template. Just click onto that. So under the ID section, I am going to mention the name of the image that I created with the tag value. So right now I created Jenkins agent and it had a tag 1.0.0. So labels, you can put a label to this agent, Jenkins agent 1. So if you have any particular, if you want to run some jobs on this particular agent, you can put the same label name on those jobs, and it will only be done on these agents. So for the usage, I'm saying that you utilize this node as much as possible. Now I'm going to save this configuration. One more thing that I need to configure is under the advanced section. For the availability, you will get a couple of options. So I'm choosing right now Docker once retention strategy. So this means that every once a job is triggered, a new slave will be provisioned, it will run on it, and once the job is complete, it will delete that agent. So it is like so the lifetime of that slave will be only for the duration for which that job ran. If you want to have different configuration, you can select from the other drop down. Like if you want to have the slaves online, then you can do that. I'm going to save the configuration. So right now I don't have any agents under the build executed status. So let's trigger the build. Since it's going to provision a new slave uh, using Docker, it will take a couple of seconds to launch that agent and then run the job. So as you can see, the project test Maven project is under build queue. Also I can see this. If I go to my test tab plan, so now I can click on this. Okay, so my build has started. Now I can see under this in the console output, this is the container ID. It used for the Jenkins agent one we configured. So every new Jenkins slave agent will run in a new container. So if I check my Docker containers, I should see that. So if you compare this, F168, D46N46, D46N4796. So yeah, so it's the same. So it started in this agent, in this container. So now if I want to see like where are the how does, if I want to troubleshoot, like if the job fails or something, just I first have to find the IP address of this container. So that I can do using Docker inspect and the container ID F1. So this is the IP address of the container it's given. So I'll log into that using the Jenkins user. So now you can see we are inside a new inside that container. So if I go under my workspace, I should see my project. So as you can see, this is where it's going to check out. If I can exit from this. So this is how you can troubleshoot. Now if I check, the container is still running and my job is still in progress. So now let's run another job that's just a simple shell script. So again you can see that the script job is under build queue. So it will again provision a new Jenkins slave agent and then run that job on that. So since this is going to take time, let's talk about some of the advantages um, that the Docker Jenkins agents provide. So like I already told you, one of the advantages that you can use your hardware much efficiently by provisioning Jenkins slave agent using Docker. The other advantage is that uh, normally every time you set up a new project, or if you have some changes to the old projects, you have to manually log into all the build agent servers and update the capabilities, or you can say, suppose in your if if in your organization you have to update the JDK versions of all the agents, so you have to manually do that. But in but while if you are provisioning your Jenkins slave agent using Docker, you just have to change the Docker file, update the JDK version, create a new image, and then using you just have to change the version, change that version in your configuration section, and then that's all you need to do. So you don't have to manually log into that, manually log into all the servers and do that. The third advantage, okay, before that, now the second a job is also started, and let's see. Okay, so this job was finished by the time I was, so if I go and look at this output of that, it's just ran. So it told me that okay, this ran on this container Jenkins agent. If I want to see, my first job is still running, still in progress, still downloading the even artifacts from the repo. Okay. The third advantage of using Docker technology for provisioning your Jenkins slave agent is basically yep. The third advantage is uh, you if you want, you will have your agents always as clean as possible if you are using a Docker retention uh, job configuration as mentioned in the Mary Jenkins. So this is another advantage. So under the advanced, if you go, so using Docker once retention strategy, if you choose this, so you can ensure that every time a job is running, it will always run on a clean build machine. So usually the problem of like the leftovers of the Maven artifacts of the previous build job, that won't be a problem. So these are some of the advantages of using Docker technology for provisioning your Jenkins slave agent. So it's still downloading the Maven artifacts for this job. For the demonstration, the Docker file, the base image I used was Evagra slave, um, which is based on a Ubuntu image. So if you want, you can have your own customized image like a base CentOS image, and you can run your jobs on a CentOS. So uh, say on one host you have one image which uses a CentOS image, and you have another agent that uses Ubuntu based operating system. So you can have, so like this, you can have different OS, and you can run different jobs on depending on your requirements on the same host. So and if that would be the case in a traditional CI server, then you need to have a new virtual machine, a separate virtual machine for one Bamboo agent, that one Jenkins agent that needs to run on CentOS, and another one that needs to run on Ubuntu. So now, as you can see, it's generating the project in batch mode. So now you can see the project. It has created a test web app project from the archetype. It's successful. So now you can see, once it has run both the jobs, there is no build executors. So since I selected Docker once retention policy, after the job is completed, whether it's passed or failed, the slave agents will be deleted. Now to confirm that, I can just go to my console and check if there is any container. So as of now, you see there is no agents running. But if you want to have your Jenkins slave agents to be online, then you can just change the configuration in the advanced section. You can use keep this slave online as much as possible. So once the first time it will run this, it will have those agents online, and you can, in the similar way, you can see by running the docker ps-a command to check if those agents are running. So this was about how you can use the Docker technology to run your Jenkins slave agents on a single hardware or less number of virtual machines. Thank you.